Hey folks, my name is Jen, and today I wanted to just talk to you about the books that I am hoping I'll get to in August. So first of all, we have some books I'm juggling here. For my classic that I have picked for the month of August to try to tackle, I am planning on dipping into Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. I haven't read this before, and this is another situation kind of like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, where I vaguely know what this is about, but I don't know a ton about it, and I'm mostly okay with going into this a little blind. I do know that this is a comedy, and that in some cases Jonathan Swift, I think, got in trouble for writing this book, just based on some of the dirtier things that he said in it, apparently, from what I've heard anyway. And I also know that it involves travel, traveling to different places. I know at one point there's apparently the Lilliputians, which I believe are, he goes to a land where the people are like an inch high or something like that, and then he goes to another land where he is the one who's like an inch high or something. And I know that there's like, it's like a satire, essentially. So yeah, interested to know what's gonna happen, but I figured, hey, it's got travel, perfect classic to pick for the last month of the summer. Then, as far as unfinished books go, I actually have a whole big chunk of those. The reason I have a whole big chunk of those is because I don't know which video is going to go up first. This or my... Oh my god, what is my hair doing? I don't know if this video is going to go up first or if my unhaul video is going to go up first. Basically, when I was doing my unhaul, there were several books that I'd had on my TBR and just figured, you know what, I'll get to them at some point to look at or whatever, or I just kind of put them on my shelf and then I just didn't, you know, have anything to do with them. And I decided they are, you know, books from my teen years that I'm not sure how I feel about them anymore. Because I remember being like either liking them or being kind of okay with them as a teenager, but I'm just not sure how I'd feel about them now as an adult and whether or not there's any merit in me keeping them. I'm running out of room. So I said that I would go through all of those books and I would try to read them by the end of July. And if I hadn't read them by the end of July, then that was an instant it has to go. You know, which was a donation pile, but now I guess one of my friends wants to read them, most of them, so they might just end up with her for a little bit. And I have essentially a bunch of those books that I wanted to read and get through, but my pure hubris of beginning middle of July was to assume that I would have the time and brain power to make it through a whole bunch of YA books, which was just not possible. I have 2 DNF'd that I'm staring at right now that are kind of being unhauled, and then I have 2 that I'm in the middle of, and I have a feeling, besides the other couple of books that I'm also hoping to finish getting through by the end of this month, I do not have time. It is the 29th of July. I do not have time to get through all of these other ones. So to give them a fair chance, I'm going to say if I can't get through them by the end of this summer, they have to be DNF'd. And they have to go in the donation or to my friend, basically. So as for the ones that I'm currently actively reading, the first of which is Rhymes with Witches by Lauren Miracle. I didn't go into this with a lot of happy feelings about this, because it was basically the same kind of writing style almost, or similar to the 2 books that I DNF'd this month. Yeah, I didn't have much hopes for this, but, and I still don't, to be honest, but I don't ever remember reading this when I was a teenager. I think I just bought it, thought I'd read it, and then never did. So I'm going to give it a fighting chance. Interesting enough to me to have me keep going, but we just got introduced to a character who is completely unbelievable as a person, so we'll see how that goes. Which is about a girl named Jane who is a freshman in high school and really desperately wants to be accepted and popular, and ends up getting brought into the popular clique at the school known as the Bitches, capital B. Basically it is sophomore Mary Bryan. They always say her name Mary Bryan, why I don't know. Sounds like a nun's name. And then you have Bitsy, who's the junior, who apparently transferred from England. Why? Okay. And then you have Keisha from who's the senior, and they're the Bitches, and basically there has to be 4, and they've been looking for a freshman member, and they've eyed Jane. And so Jane kind of gets brought into the group, but it does seem like there's something potentially creepy going on. There's all kinds of rumors. Everyone likes them. Everyone likes them and loves them, and it's almost like there's a spell put on them. There's also these feral cats running around school. It's odd. I don't know what's happening here, but still kind of intrigued. And then we also have another one of those, which is The Year of Secret Assignments by Jacqueline Moriarty. This is told in journal entries and letters, which is always a favorite, kind of story method? No, that's not the word I'm looking for. I'm sorry, I'm not fully with it today. There's a word I'm looking for, and I can't remember what the word is, but that's my favorite storytelling device, is that what I'm looking for? Maybe, is to, have things told through letters. I find that, really interesting, or diary entries. I really liked Princess Diaries when I was growing up, so, yeah. And this is a series of letters between these 3 girls who were best friends, Emily, Cassie, and Lydia. And these 3 boys, Matthew, Charlie, and Sebastian, who go to the local public school, they all go to the private school in their area, and they're pen pals, essentially. And there's a year of their pen pal letters, and friendships being forged, crazy secret missions, law-breaking things, just a lot of stuff. I remember I really loved this as a teenager, and so far I've been really enjoying it, but I know I'm not going to get through it. Also, because this is the book that I have been bringing to work with me to read on my lunch break, so that ends up taking me a little bit longer to get through books, because I only have half an hour, so yeah. Then for the other books that I have to get through, or else I have to get rid of them. Actually, there's 5 here, not just 3. So the 3 from, well, 2 of them are from my teenage years. So one is TTYL by Lauren Miracle. This is telling the story of the 10th grade by best friends Maddie, Angela, and Zoe, known by their AIM names as Mad Maddie, Snow Angel, and Zoe Girl, because yes, we all chose really funky things to be known as when AIM was a thing. This is told, again, entirely through instant messaging chats. I don't know how this is going to hold up. Yeah, it's just a story of these friends and their 10th grade school year when shitty things happen and how they get through it and all that kind of stuff. Don't know how it's going to hold up. Don't have a lot of high hopes for this, but we'll see. Next one also is My Own Worst Enemy, and this is by Carol Sonnenklar. And this is about Eve. She's always kind of been like tomboyish, not really care about like, you know, popularity and social whatevers and stuff, and she always kind of has like this haha funny attitude problem. Her family and her have been going through a tough time. They've just had to move. She's had to change schools, and it's a fresh start for her, and she ends up like deciding to be like preppy and popular and stuff like that, but it's like kind of like one of those, well, it's good to make changes but don't lose yourself kind of thing, essentially is what this is, I guess. Yeah, it's really short, so we'll see how that goes when I get to that. And then this one I grabbed off of my best friend, because she was getting rid of it, and I got it because I figured it was going to be a good hate read. It is Kiss Me Kill Me by Lauren Henderson. You know, somehow you get in those moods and you just want to hate read something. The premise of this sounded like it would be like that. The main character's name is Scarlett Wakefield. She transfers from St. Tabby's, a posh private school outside London, to Wakefield Hall Collegiate, world-renowned prep school her grandmother runs in the English countryside. Several months before, Scarlett kissed a boy at a party and he suffocated in her arms, and rumors she was kind of blamed for it, so she's trying to look for a new start, to start over and try to forget about those things, but apparently someone at the school ends up knowing her secrets and starts, I think they send her letters? Yeah, an anonymous note. So she ends up trying to figure out how to clear her name. Sounds overly dramatic and kind of ridiculous. Yeah, we'll see. I didn't have high hopes for this in the beginning, but maybe this will surprise me and it will actually be really good. And then I have two books that I have been trying to get through for months and months, and I'm just having a hard time, so I might have to give up on them. The first of which is Dead Dead Girls by Nikisa Afia. This is a Harlem Renaissance mystery, and this is following Louise, who was kidnapped when she was a kid but managed to escape, and now women are being abducted and then murdered around Harlem, and she basically, through happenstances, ends up getting plugged by the police to be their little detective, basically, to go undercover and figure out why young black women have been targeted and what's going on, basically. Sadly, I don't have a lot of high hopes for this either, because the writing style's bothering me just a little, and that circumstances of this situation just seem completely unbelievable, I guess, based on how she's been treated by I'll probably talk more about it in my whatever wrap up and get to August wrap up probably, but yeah, so I'm having a hard time with this. I'm hoping that I can just power through and it'll get real better, but I don't know. And the other one that I need to really get to or get rid of is The Long Fall by Walter Mosley. This is the first mystery featuring Leonard McGill, who's an ex-boxer, hard drinker, and not one to turn down a shady job for a quick buck. Old school PI working in New York City that got fancy all around him. I like a good mystery. I like a good PI. The sad thing is that I don't like the main character. He's not a good person, really. And I also don't really like the writing style, so I'm having a hard time with this too, but we'll see how this goes. I'm going to try to get through it anyway. Then I have a couple of books that I'm going through for my current writing project. One I've already started, as you can see I'm actually annotating, what, me? For my research, and this is the Poisoner's Handbook by Deborah Bloom. This is Murder and the Birth of Forensic Medicine in Jazz Age New York. So yeah, it's basically going through, right now we're talking about how corrupt everything was in New York, and how basically there's just like just a lot of corruption, a lot of like people getting away with stuff, like murderers going free and all that kind of stuff. So this is about the beginnings of forensic science, essentially, and also following, let me see, I forget his name. I shouldn't forget his name because he's really cool and I think I might have like a brain crush on him. But was appointed the chief medical examiner. His name is Charles Norris, and he also appoints a toxicologist, Alexander Gettler, and they basically set the city on fire with justice, figuring out how to better detect poisons and everything and make sure that people don't get away with shit. So yeah, this is really fascinating, and I'm going to be continuing to read this through August. I'm hoping that maybe I'll be able to finish it at some point in August. I'm making a pretty good progress, even though I'm not that far of the way through because I keep stopping and going, oh, I need to make a note about that. But yeah, so I will be working on this throughout August. Also hoping to pick up in August as well. Besides the forensic book, I also want to open one of my Vermont books that I just got, and this is The Roadside History of Vermont by Peter S. Jennison. So it basically goes through a short history of basically every town in Vermont is what this looks like. So yeah, I'm hoping to like partially read this for pleasure, same as this, but also for just, you know, better context for what I'm writing and stuff. So, and then we get to the other books, which are books that I have picked out just because they feel summery to me. I'm still working my way through The Sea Hunters. I'm hoping, because I have a couple of days till the end of the month, I'm actually going to be able to finish it. But I didn't put Sea Hunters 2 on this list because it took me so long to get through the first one. I feel like maybe I need a break on shipwrecks for a little while. Maybe I'll tackle that again in like September or something. Instead, I picked 3 books. The first of which is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I don't know why this feels like summer to me. It's like the colors, it's like the fruit and stuff on the back. There's fire in the title. So this is all about Imoni. This is following her story. Basically, for the past couple of years, her life has been like about focusing on making tough decisions and, you know, working hard and everything. She has a teenage daughter. No. She has I think she's like 2 or 3-year-old daughter that she is like trying to take care of, as well as taking care of her abuela, who they live with. So she's all about like focus and responsibility. The one place that she can actually like relax in a sense is the kitchen. She loves to cook. She wants to be a chef. So basically she knows that's not really the practical thing that she should be doing, but she can't help it. She has this dream of being a kick-ass chef. So it sounds like this is about, you know, some choices she has to make sure that she tries to reach her goals is kind of what this story is sounding like. This is not told in verse. This is a prose book by Elizabeth Acevedo. I've read 2 of her verse books and really liked them. So I'm also really excited about reading this story as well. And then I have 2 books that seem like they take place in warmer climates. The first one is Caramello by Sandra Cisneros. This is basically about Lala and her family. Like a big family. Basically, every year, I think it's in the summer. Yeah, it's in the summer. Basically, they drive every summer from Chicago to their grandparents' house in Mexico City and spend the summer there. They are called Little Grandfather and Awful Grandmother. So basically, Lala really struggles to find her voice among a very boisterous family, but she is really good at making keen observations of the people in her life. And she decides she's going to start telling, it says, the awful grandmother's life story, seeking clues to how she got to be so awful. Her grandmother accuses Lala of exaggerating, and basically this is like a multi-generational story, but there's also like truth and lies and misconceptions and everything just going through generations of the family. I do like reading like stories about family, like tell-all stuff. Like I really like how the Garcia girls lost their accents, and Yo, both by Julia Alvarez. I'm kind of getting like that kind of, or like basically any of Amy Tan's books, just multi-generational like things like that. I'm kind of getting that feeling from this, so I think this will be really interesting and probably a lot of feels. And then the last book that I'm hoping to pick up in August is The Road to Paradise Island by Victoria Holt. This is actually one that I believe I read before when I was a teenager, I think. Basically, I don't really know how to summarize this very well, so I'm just going to read this to you. Raised in the English countryside by their strong-willed grandmother, lovely, vibrant Annalise Mallory, and her beloved brother Philip, have grown up with a passion for travel and exploration stemming from the family's renowned cartography business. Since childhood, Annalise has been fascinated by the intricacies of map-making, a fascination that will lead her to a startling discovery and a journey halfway around the world to mystery, peril, and romance. In a sealed-off room in the Mallory house, Annalise finds a time-worn map depicting an unknown spot of land off the Australian coast, the idyllic and gold-laden Paradise Island. With the map is a journal written a century earlier by Annalise's namesake Anne Alice Mallory, a young woman who died under mysterious circumstances. It recounts a chilling tale of love and longing, blah 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 blah. She's obsessed with her ancestors' tragic story, and her brother takes off in search of the island, but when she doesn't hear back from him, she decides that she has to go to the island. Yeah. So these are like romantic suspense thrillers kind of things. I know Victoria Holt's not for everybody. I have kind of mixed relationship with her as a writer because there are a couple of her books that I really didn't like, but then I also really love The Shivering Stones. No, Shivering Sands, getting mixed up with Phyllis Whitney, but The Shivering Sands is really good. So yeah, I'm gonna read this because it sounds like an exciting adventure. It's tropical island, you know, nothing like a little bit of travel and murder for your summer, I guess. But yeah, that's everything that I'm hoping to get to in August. It's a big chunk of things, but I did read like well, you'll see in my wrap up of July, but I did read a decent amount of books. So I'm hopeful that I can at least get to most of these in August, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, I guess, please consider subscribing. And also, if you read any of these, let me know down below. Let me know what you thought. No spoilers, obviously, but just let me know what you thought. And I will let you know what I thought when I get around to them. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys are having a great rest of the month. I'll see you next time.